As monsoons in North India continue to create havoc, India's capital New Delhi is evacuating hundreds of residents from areas adjoining the river Yamuna due to risk of flooding. The river is now flowing well above the danger mark, with levels hitting new highs. Our next report brings you more.
208.48 meters. That was the water level of the Yamuna at 8 a.m. on Thursday. That's a new 45-year high. Areas adjacent to the river have been submerged, and people living near the banks are being moved out. There is little respite in sight for now, says the Delhi Chief Minister, warning that waters would continue to rise for some days to come. Rainfall recorded in the Indian capital this year is 112% of the average for July. States near Delhi have also received record rainfall so far this monsoon season. The states of Punjab and Himachal Pradesh have borne the brunt of it. Some places recorded over 170% the normal rains. What image does this create of a well-developed metropolitan city of Delhi in your mind? Looking back a few years, the number of flooding events in the Yamuna basin have increased sharply due to rapid urbanization. This is in terms of both magnitude and frequency. So what causes the river to overflow? 1. Incessant rains. And 2. Water released into the river upstream by neighboring states. And besides changing climate patterns, poor urban planning has been held to blame. People were earlier allowed to build structures on floodplains without any regard for the consequences. But later, sudden floods forced them to leave their homes behind and flee. The death toll due to rain havoc across northern India now nears the 70 mark. Amid these incessant torrential rains, a series of shocking videos of the mayhem have emerged. At least 12 people have been killed in Uttarakhand, including 9 on Tuesday, when debris fell on their vehicles on a national highway. A popular pilgrimage to the Kedarnath temple, the Amarnath Yatra, has also been suspended due to heavy rains. Meanwhile, dozens of foreign tourists are stranded in the Himalayas after floods severed road connections. Rescue teams were mobilized to assist 40 foreign travelers, including 14 Russians and 12 Malaysians, stranded at tourist destinations alongside several hundred Indian nationals. Flash floods were reported across the state of Himachal Pradesh, the worst affected, where floods brought down a bridge and washed away several clusters of residential huts. At least 33 people have lost their lives in the state. The state's chief minister has said heavy snowfall and bad weather are making it difficult for the authorities to evacuate these tourists. The monsoon brings South Asia around 80% of its annual rainfall, which is vital for both agriculture and the livelihoods of millions of farmers. However, it also brings destruction every year in the form of landslides and floods. Melting glaciers add to the volume of water, while unregulated construction in flood-prone areas exacerbate the damage. Will real lessons ever be learnt? Bureau Report, WION, World is One.
All right, for more on this, we are being joined by Professor Anjal Prakash, the Research Director in the Indian School of Business. He is also an author on the UN's Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change and contributes to IPCC reports as the lead author. Welcome to the broadcast, sir.
Thank you so much, Shivan, for having me.
Mr. Prakash, we have covered a part of this in the report that we've just run for you, but talk to us about the causes behind the rising levels of the Yamuna River.
Yeah, so there has been a couple of issues around this. Definitely, I've been part of the IPCC report, and for last 4 to 5 years, a numerous report has been telling us that climate change is here and now, and this kind of a conditions of incessant rain is going to stay there for a long time. So we have this knowledge for a long time. That's number one. Second is, as your report also said, that there has been poor urban planning, and in fact, there is no planning. I mean, this whole word of using this word of urban planning has a misnomer here because the planning is not there. So you have haphazard development. You have undermined the natural drainage of the city. Delhi, if you look at traditionally, the floodplains of Yamuna has already been encroached upon. You also see the numerous lakes and ponds that was actually interconnected with the river has also been encroached upon. So there is a numerous problems in terms of the way we are developing our cities. Number one. Second is that totally undermining the environmental resources that we have at hand. So this is on the top. So climate change is actually a topping of what we have seen the problems, but the inherent problem is about lack of planning. And if the second point also I would like to bring forward here is about the regional planning. So it's not only about planning for Delhi, but we have to plan it in a bioregional space. That means that we have to go much beyond Delhi and seeing where is the water coming up. The water in Yamuna is actually very strongly linked with the Himalayan. It's a Himalayan river. It's a glaciated river which has a strong link with what happens upstream. So what is happening in Delhi in Yamuna is very much linked with what has happened upstream in terms of the rains and the problems that we have faced even in saving our Himalayan rivers.
Right.
Also the forest resources there. So these are a couple of things which
Right.
I'll put forward. Yeah.
So the river in Delhi essentially is mimicking what we are seeing in the higher regions in India in the northern plains. And of course, as far as urban planning is concerned, like you mentioned, there is no planning. But I wanted to also, ask you, it's becoming a repeated phenomenon every year. With climate change impacting the monsoons, urban planning not up to the mark, is this just going to get worse as the years progress? Or do we just have to brace for this every year in every monsoon season? Or is there anything that can be done to stop this from happening going forward?
Yeah, absolutely. So, see, the problem with climate change issues that it makes things very unpredictable for us. So we do not know what is going to happen tomorrow, day after tomorrow. What we know is a broad patterns, and the broad patterns tells us that this is going to be sometime the entire season's rainfall will happen in 2 or 3 events. That has been proven, and that means that the kind of rainfall that we are seeing in Delhi or otherwise in the northwest India is going to stay like this. And in fact, there may be also a kind of prediction that IPCC authors are making that it's going to be much more severe. So not only, and the worst is yet to come in a sense. So that means that we have to really gear up. The problem is that we have enough knowledge, but that knowledge is not leading to wisdom. And what I mean to say here by localizing this knowledge to the local planning that we have, regional planning that we have, that is where the major problem lies. Climate change is going to stay here and is going to make things much more worse for all of us together. What are we doing about it is a question, and that's where the buck stop.
All right, that was Mr. Anjal Prakash, the Research Director in the Indian School of Business, joining us from New Delhi. Thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast, sir.
Thank you.